Today a very crucial episode. You can already see it here in the background because today I'm driving the Audi that will define the future of the brand, and it is this one. Woo! So that was 0 to 90 kilometers an hour. There's a good acceleration, definitely. It's a rear-wheel drive only model. It's electric, and we're here on this closed course, rally style racing. Yeah, the test engineer from Audi next to me is already signaling me like, take it easy, Thomas. That's the only piece we've got. So this vehicle here, you've just seen the first short test drive. Soon more about driving this one closed and also with open top. At this moment it's called Concept C, and you know, I have history with this vehicle because at the first studio shooting I was quite shocked about the front. This was also the intention of Audi, to really make a wake-up call of a kind of reset or going back to the roots in exterior and also in the interior design. And I loved pretty much everything about the vehicle. I just thought maybe the grille is too extreme. But now the funny stuff comes. With the number plate, it's kind of like a little bit drawn back. Usually a number plate destroys a vehicle, but now the grille is a little bit drawn back. And I also, meanwhile, got a little bit used to that one. And I also want to show you today that this new vehicle here, a coupe and the roadster in one vehicle, will be, so to speak, a mix or two vehicles in one of the Audi TT. We have it here in the very first generation. This specific vehicle here from 2000, of course, in this classic Audi silver. And on the other side, the Audi R8, we also have it here in the first generation, this specific vehicle here with the V8 from 2010. And that also shows purely visually that the new upcoming Audi sports car is a mix between the R8 and the TT. Lengthwise here with about 4 meters 52 or 178 inches, it is rather an R8. But the original idea, how it is in driving, that's still more lightweight and also power-wise maybe comes closer to the TT. So ideas from both vehicles, and we're soon going to show you even more historical vehicles where they also took ideas from. So this is Thomas with Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length with the Audi Concept C. And when you say now, this is pure concept, 90% is almost final, how it looks like and also how it will drive and so on. So yes, it is a first hand-built vehicle, but it is very, very close to the production. I also made my own 3D rendering, how I was thinking maybe how the front looks a little bit less dramatic when you take some part of the lower part away, because it's still large in a vertical sense, but not that large, you know, in the width. And if you then compare past Audi grills, you have to say it is again reduced to the max. And Audi has listened to the feedback from the fans, because also I, was saying, go for real Audi rings again. You know, these ones you can actually really touch. They are from aluminum. And the same we will also see on the interior, and that Audi goes back to Bauhaus design, and you can see this very, very sculptural design already in the front. If some now say, yes, this has a resemblance to the recently presented new Jaguar Type 00, I think it was. Yeah, because the designer is the same designer that is now working for Audi. So there is no coincidence, and this was also part of some criticism. Very interesting is that all the viewers from Germany, they were very enthusiastic about the vehicle, whereas the international audience had a little bit more criticism, especially about the grille. There were also some funny comments like Audi gravestone, or I was suggesting maybe like a minibar and so on. But it's really a thing. The front is more shocking, but then you get used to it. And now I really concentrate on the sculptural lines, which I was very positive about from the beginning on. And I think it works very well, that it shows something very attractive, very puristic in design. And also when we were driving this vehicle here around the South Tyrol area, everyone is stopping by, taking photos and so on. At the same time, it is all electric, so it will be silent even if you're going for some show-off moves. Now some technical interesting facts and so on. Really slim headlamps, they also move mechanically actually. And here also, for example, you can see in the front, this is real metal here also at the front grille, so they use more real materials. Again, you can hear and feel that not only with the rings and so on. In the side profile, a very one design line effect. You can see it works very well, and also especially in the closed form. And I can confirm today that there will be no soft top. It will be the hard top. At the same time, it's a convertible as well. So you have the Roadster, you have the Coupe, both in one car, more to a 911 Targa at Audi. That would be the one that comes closest to it. Just that this one here then is all electric. I'm also a fan of soft tops because it reduces weight on the top part of the vehicle, but they really want to keep the silhouette and also make it more R8 alike. I say in the length and from the visual appearance, indeed more R8, I have to say. 21-inch wheels we have on this one here, and you can see here these Audi rings, they are also moving together so that they stay upright and at ease basically no matter how the car is standing. There will be a standard steel spring suspension on this one here today and the rear wheel drive. Let's see if later on they will also add adaptive suspension or so on. So far a very stiff setup. The all-wheel drive model will be even better in the performance, but the rear-wheel drive model, I can already tell so far, you've seen it in a couple of seconds in the front, it's already enough as for the acceleration. The weight is about 1.7 tons. That means also the focus on keeping the weight low, although it's all electric. So that means that the battery is not too large. Not the focus on high range and big battery like with the Audi e-tron GT, for example. This one more for maneuverability and so on. And here once again the rings at the rear from aluminum, which you can really touch and feel. The number plate integration in the rear is actually quite natural. Of course, there are more beautiful things than number plates, but here it doesn't play the biggest effect like it did in the front. But in the front there was also like pro and con definitely as for that. And I can also confirm that it will not have a rear window. So this will be closed like this. They say even 90% from the final looks, and these are more like, looks like dinosaur fins, like you know, something like that. There will be additional braking lights in there, and there are also a couple of cameras. For example, the top camera is the one I can see in the back mirror, and there will be additional rear view camera that you can also park in and out properly. And this is the original car where they took the inspiration from. This is the Auto Union Type C race car, originally from 1938 with 16 cylinders. Incredible. This is a replica model from 1998, but you can see here it's like the original design with the vertical front grille. So this is where they started from, really searching deep in the heritage. And another inspiration was from the Audi RS6 C6, that generation here, the specific vehicle also from 2010, because this one here had the first so-called single frame grille at Audi. And you see the resemblance is a mixture of all these influences. Here, of course, you can say it looks cool, it looks striking, but then again, for some it was like too wide maybe. That's why they shrink it now again in the new concept. And here, of course, with the real large Audi rings, you can also touch and feel. So which one is the one of your favorite past Audis, and how do you think how they managed to combine it now in the Concept C? Now to the spectacular interior. With a touch, the door is opening. Welcome to the new Audi interior that will define the future from 2027. Here, fabric on the inside of the doors, in this case, all light. And you can hardly see any high gloss black. That's the scheme. Here also classic window levers, for example, for the controls. This one will be to press to open the door from the inside. And there's also the lamination here for the windows, that it's quite also when you're driving close. Oh, great camera work from Leah. And then here, the steering wheel with real Audi rings on the airbag cover, and also this like this tube style round, like we know, for example, from my Audi S5, and real buttons here at the steering wheel. Boost button on the left side here. These ones you can go up and down to control the digital instruments. Right side here for selecting the driving modes, and with real Audi clicking sounds. And for example here, you know, like everything galvanized or anodized. And once again, do you see any high gloss black? Hardly, just the outside part here actually, but not on the interior. Then in this case also fabric seats, sport seats with integrated head restraints. We'll also soon test the comfort of these. And there are more things to come in the interior, so stay tuned. And now let's open the roof one more time. Always a spectacular effect here with the hardtop. And yeah, that will hopefully be a little bit smoother than the final version as well. This one here, like a hand-built model, as I said. I'm a big fan of the soft tops, but of course, I mean, if you have the hard top, also has advantages, you know. But to me, soft tops have more advantages. Weight goes quicker. You can usually do that at a higher speed, and so on and so on. But tell me, what do you think? You can also lower the window for Leah, that you can film better here in the inside cockpit. And wow, what a complete change. So this vehicle here will first launch in 2027. And then that's why it's also so important. It will lead the way for all other Audi models as well. It's not only about this one sports car that will be, of course, sold just in very tiny numbers, but all the ideas from the exterior design and also from the interior design, the functionality, going back to the roots with Audi, will go into all new Audi models, no matter in which segment they are. Not in the 2026, so there will be new Audi models in 2026. We'll keep you updated on that. But after this one here is launched, then all new Audi models will have actually this. And yeah, once again, hardly any high gloss black. The main things about the vehicle, first of all, I said with the steering wheel, that you have these real buttons here again, and also with Audi click sound and so on. It will also account for the climate unit. Here at the moment it's basically drawn on there, so this is not the final climate unit, this is still with touch. But they said or promised me that this will also get a real Audi climate unit, like we know from my Audi S5, for example. And here also you will be able to turn, you know, real stuff with metal knurling around and so on. And I really appreciate it, because that's what we have been missing as Audi fans from the most current models, for example. Then the seats, gotta say, they are not the best in comfort yet. Maybe there will be some final updated one, then we can tell you more with the final vehicle. At the moment, it is a very sporty seat, yeah, where you do lose comfort and you say, maybe I don't want to go on the longest road trip, but for sporty driving, then it's actually fine. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool that we don't have any high gloss black here, because that was another thing, of course. Then the screen here, about 10-inch. This can be retracted, actually. We can soon show that to you again. It doesn't have the full functionality yet, but this will have also a new software and hardware background. And this idea of only showing what is necessary is also once again taken from the TT and the R8. Not from this first generation maybe, but more from the second generation each, which just had the Audi virtual cockpit and no infotainment system at all. And we also know it, for example, from the, I think it was even the Audi A3, where the screen actually popped out. So we don't know yet if this one will be the final solution. But what is clear, that the screen in this new Audi, will it be called Audi C? I don't know. It can be somehow, you know, hidden away, maybe in parts. We'll have to see about the final solution. And here, this is the button here in the lower part. And when you use this one, you can actually pull out the screen. There we go, there it comes. Yeah, and this is like the solution where I say, when I don't need it, I might just hide it because I want to focus on driving or so, and then it's gone again. But let's see how it will be in the final version. You know, maybe from our studio episode, there's also this cubby hole here. They moved the function that was here before. Now that's the volume up and down, the volume jog. So now I press on the left side and then I can open this one here. You can put some things in there, but when it's closed, I can still basically see what's in there. So that's like another design idea. And a quick look at the digital instruments. Top part is the speed here, and then here, for example, I have a power meter here for this electric vehicle, of course. And you can also change something here in the instruments. This will also be possible to scroll in that. Yeah, very well visible. What do you think about that? This new interior concept, tell us in the comments. And now, guys, I'm driving the Audi of the future. Let's go. Yeah. There's a good acceleration, definitely. It's a rear-wheel drive only model. It's electric, and we're here on this closed course rally style racing. Yeah, the test engineer from Audi next to me is already signaling me like, take it easy, Thomas. That's the only piece we've got. No, of course, always safety first. But wow, it's like you feel the low center of gravity immediately. Of course, the battery pack is in the bottom part of the vehicle, and there's no recuperation set at the moment. As for leaving the throttle, so I use the brake pedal for recuperation. To me, that's fine. That also comes a little bit closer to combustion engine models. If there's, for example, just a little bit of engine brake. and it's very well to control. Typical Audi steering feel, very precise. Not many commands are needed that something happens on the road actually. And here you can see 90-degree corner. I turn the steering wheel 90-degree, so that's a lot of fun. You also hear a lot of stones underneath the vehicle because it's a somewhat dirty road, like a total B or even C road. Reminds me a little bit of Porsche 911 GTS, which is also not so insulated because this one here, the prototype, you know, later on it will be more silent in the final model. But that also proves a little bit my point. This really feels like an electric 911 Targa somewhat. If you want to like imagine yourself what it comes closest to, so to speak. And it really connects very well to the road. 21-inch wheels we have on there. The suspension is a fixed suspension, so there's no adaptive dampers. I would suppose that will be an option later on. But here at this moment, everything concentrated on the sporty driving, and that works very well. So it's a very neutral handling also. This is not supposed to be a dramatic supercar with the best performance ever and $250,000 of price. Yeah, it will still be expensive, but it's also supposed to be working as a grand tour here on the Alpine roads and so on. So you have the instant acceleration. At this moment, the suspension is set really, really stiff, but I heard they also want to work on that. And when, for example, later on adaptive dampers come, that might also give you a little bit more comfort. And here the asphalt is really dry and nice. Shall we try really pinning it down? Let's see what happens. Woo! So that was 0 to 90 kilometers an hour. Really nice. I mean, yeah, there can be more drastic acceleration, but I think it's exactly on point here with the rear-wheel drive model. There will also be an all-wheel drive model to be expected, but I think you don't need it. This one has all the power you actually need. Yeah, so it's not that it puts too much stress on your body, but it's exactly how you would like imagine, hey, I need a nice performance, but without that my brain leaves the body, you know, because sometimes with like these extreme EV performance EVs or something like that, it's just too much on your body. But since here we're sitting very low, once again with a low center of gravity, and that the car is not too heavy, it's still a lot of fun to drive. Because sometimes I had it with electric vehicles that they behave very well on the motorway, for example, but then when you put it on the racetrack or drive in a very dynamic way, then it might become a problem because too much body stress is happening. And here they kept the weight low, not too big battery, because they say we rather want the lower weight, better performance, you know, than maybe like 120 kilowatt hours or going 1,000 miles or something like that, you know. So here they try to keep the balance that it doesn't get too heavy. And that's also leading me to the question, Audi TT or Audi R8. Yeah, we found out exterior interior that it's something in between, and driving wise it's probably also something like that. So the combustion engine TT is of course smaller and more agile, yes. Then again, this one has great performance, but it's not that, you know, extreme in the performance like a fully spec'd R8. So also driving wise, indeed something between Audi TT and Audi R8 than in this modern electric interpretation. And here, by the way, the steering, once again, you can see that I don't have to work that much. At the same time, we know that modern vehicles often have no feedback from the steering. That's maybe, you know, arcade-like computer game, but here I still feel what's happening on the road as well. And now we want to drive open top. We've opened the roof and driving convertible, open top. I mean, I've been driving the MG Cyberstar, for example. It's maybe the one that comes closest to that, but it's a very rare thing so far. And the cool thing is, the thing that you might miss the sound when you're driving open top. It has something, of course, when you have like a 6 or 8 cylinder sound when you're driving open top, but it's cool in a different way because you hear something from the surrounding and you can enjoy the silence. So especially here in this great alpine landscape, you totally get into a different mood, you know. So you look at the mountains, you know, and the grass, and it's really, really beautiful. So it's the South Tyrol area here. Oh, Leah's standing outside there, taking some shots of the vehicle. So there we are. It's something you maybe realize that. So I feel I have to drive slower, you know. So because it's so silent and you just want to enjoy it, you know? And both is possible with the vehicle, you know, driving it a little more aggressive in a sporty way, but also just enjoying it. And yeah, again, as a S5 owner, I do enjoy it when I drive open top and I hear that 6-cylinder growling a little bit, especially because I have the version like 2018 without the particle filter, which is still a little bit louder, and when you open the valve, for example. But here it's actually something different. So you can drive sporty, but especially when it's open top and electric, it directly gets you into this relaxing mood, so to speak. Nevertheless, it's always ready to push the throttle. In this case, maybe we call it accelerator pedal to be very precise. Here, very precise also again in the corners. I hope it's also a cool feature for you to watch it on camera with this transitions between the sunlight and the shadows. Something that also professional racing drivers and also like motocross drivers, for example, in the AMA Nationals especially, always have to work with. So it's really tough on the eye, so therefore we also have to be careful. So here at about 60-70 kilometers an hour, wind noise pick up a little bit, so it's more like a fresh wind convertible, not exactly like my S5, which you can drive 120 kilometers an hour, 80 miles an hour on the motorway, and you hardly have any wind effect. Still, I'm sitting deep enough in the vehicle that it doesn't get too cold or something. One more time with the stronger push here. Yeah, there you hear the wind noise, so like at about 80 kilometers an hour. We have to see about the final version, of course. It does have like dual lamination in the windows, so when it's closed, but definitely from the turbulence that are occurring, it's not comparable to the S5 convertible, more like to a TT or something like that. And it's also something that we experienced in the comparison 911 convertible versus 911 Targa. The Targa, also with the MX5 RF to the convertible, the Targa versions are always the louder ones. When you have the convertible and put a proper wind deflector in the rear, it's really silent, no turbulences, you can drive it also high speed. When you have this fixed roof in the rear, there's always more wind turbulence. So I would rather say that's something really that you drive open top on these alpine roads, countryside and so on, and of course also inside the city, because you can also use this one here as a show-off vehicle, maybe when you go for your favorite restaurant in the city or something like that. And show-off also works when you don't have the sound, definitely, because this exterior is really attracting a lot of attention. When we do our filming here, we can also see that people are taking photos, looking at the vehicle, so it creates a lot of attention, although there is no sound. And that's perfectly fine, you know. So I really have to say, enjoying it very much. What could be done better is definitely the seating comfort. So as much as I enjoy open top driving and I'm like a true convertible lover, my S5 seats, these are definitely more comfortable than the seats we have here. So maybe there will be some comfort optimization of the seats. These are also concept car seats. So I hope that the final version seats will be maybe a little bit more comfortable, a little bit plusher and softer as for the seating. That's probably something that is still on my wish list. But in driving, in the agility and this big question of, does it work? Open top, roadster, electric, definitely does work, and it's so much fun to drive it here. What an interesting journey here with driving the Concept C here today. I'm looking forward to the final name, of course, and we can release more technical specs about this one. Will it be a replacement for our S5 convertible? I'm not so sure about that one yet, because I would also look out for a little bit more comfort while driving. For example, we'll see about that, also about the final seats and so on. If you're now also getting a little bit nostalgic, we also, of course, have actually quite old content of the Audi TT and the Audi R8. That's definitely worth watching it as well.